Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our daily interviews with successful real estate investors. And I've put together the top 7 key market drivers I look at when analyzing a new real estate market. Go to sethferguson.org to download your free copy. Our guest today got his start in real estate while still in his teens, developing a no money down system that helped investors buy over 20 million pounds of property. He's appeared on stage around the world speaking about income generating assets. Minesh Bhindi joins us today. Minesh, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Pleasure to be on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's pleasure is mine. Really looking forward to this. So let's jump right into things and talk about your real estate goals right now.
Right now, the way we do real estate is through a passive hands-off approach using REITs and using market vehicles that allow me to manage my portfolio from here, anywhere in the world, at any time. So my goal really is just to continue doing what I'm doing: cash flow compound, cash flow compound, cash flow compound, cash flow compound, cash flow compound. Simple as that.
Yeah. Do you have any targets such as hit saying like, hey, in 5 years, in 10 years, I would like to be at this level with my, my money invested? Do you set any targets that way, or do you just take a more, see how it goes approach?
I do. And early on in my career, when I first started doing this sort of thing, teaching people 13 years ago, I used to talk about those goals and talk about that sort of stuff. And then one of my lawyers found one of those interviews and he said, you might want to stop talking about numbers simply from an asset protection perspective. So I do have those goals, but I don't share them in public.
Gotcha. And actually, that's an interesting take on it from the lawyer, because we've never had somebody mention that before from an asset protection standpoint.
Yeah, it's a very important point. And so, it's from both sides, right? It's also from a tax perspective too, and an asset protection perspective. Look, at the end of the day, no one really needs to know what you have as long as you've actually got it.
For sure. Absolutely. And so, tell us how you got into real estate, because, you used a pretty creative no money down system, and that was in the UK, I'm assuming, because I said pounds instead of dollars. So tell us how that all happened.
Yeah, so I was 15 and a half years old, and my dad, who was negotiating real estate deals for a consortium of investors, I remember walking past, his home office, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this? What is this conversation? Let me have a listen to this conversation. So I stood by the door, I started listening to the conversation. And then after he got off the phone, he looked at me and said, what are you smirking at? What are you doing? And I said, that sounds easy. I could do that. I don't know what you're doing. That sounds too easy to me. So instead of telling me to screw off, he said, well, show me then. And that's when my balls ended up in my throat, right? Because we all have those moments where we just overcommit to things, right? So that happened, and then I had to figure it out. So I started learning about real estate. I started learning about mortgage brokers, started learning about lawyers, started learning what the laws were, started learning about how to negotiate. And because I didn't have any fear at that age, because it was like, okay, give me what I want or I'm going to school, right? I was actually going to school regardless of you giving me what I want. That energy basically started getting me deals that other people couldn't get because I had the ability to walk away, and it was genuinely walk away. It wasn't just me going, hey, if you don't do this, then I'm going to pull out. No, it was like before they even had the opportunity to give a counter offer, I was already out the door. So yeah, that allowed me to get deals that other people just couldn't get at that age.
Yeah. So just to follow your progression, because you mentioned now you're investing through REITs and other vehicles. How does your real estate investing, how did that transition from doing that to where you are now? What sort of different stages did you follow?
So we built a property portfolio, which we still have. We stopped adding to it a number of years ago after the crash, and then transitioned to this. And it all transitioned based on one moment, which was a Saturday evening, and a tenant in a property that wasn't managed yet by a property manager called me and said, look, man, my light bulb's broken. So I said, there's freaking light bulbs in the closet, just change the light bulb. And he said, no, my contract states that I have to call someone before I can change the light bulb. So on Saturday night, instead of being at home, I was driving 35 minutes across town to change a freaking light bulb. And I remember on the drive there, I was so angry about this whole thing because we had other things happen, and just that whole lifestyle of property ownership and management. Because no matter how much of a manager you've got, right, everyone knows, right? When you're involved in real estate like that, you are the guy, right? On my way there, I was so angry about it. And then while I was changing the light bulb, I thought, what's the point of being angry about this? I need to change this. And on my drive back, I was like, I'm done with this. I'm finished with this. I want a better way to do this. And that's when the birth of that strategy sort of started coming around.
Yeah, gotcha. And so, it's always interesting because, lots of our listeners are beginners and intermediates when it comes to real estate. So they always like to hear how people change over time and learn from their experiences. So was it, you had that light bulb, pardon the pun, go off in your head.
Literally.
Yeah. Did you say the next day, okay, I'm just going to liquidate a whole bunch of stuff? Because you mentioned you still have a portfolio.
Yeah, no, we don't. We tend to not liquidate anything. Once you own it, you're owning it for the long term. We tend to not liquidate anything. So, no, the portfolio is there, and it's been growing very, very nicely. It's just any more that I wanted to do through REITs in a way that wasn't a pain in the ass for me.
Yeah, gotcha. And so, have you developed any routines or rituals that have helped make you a successful investor?
Invest.
Yeah.
Actually invest. That's one of the craziest things that I've seen over the last 13 years when I've been helping people, because I didn't actually want to get into education in the first place. A good friend of mine, Mark Anastasi, who's running seminars in the UK, heard what I was doing with negotiating deals at 16, 17 years old. And he was like, you need to teach people this. And I thought, I don't want to do that shit. What are you talking about? One of the biggest things and the keys, the big secret is actually freaking invest. So there's so many people that are watching, reading books, watching YouTube videos, attending seminars and this, that, and you ask them, how many properties have you put an offer in for? And the answer's 0. It's like, what the hell are you doing? I don't even want to talk to you at this point. You've got to invest. If you're not actually doing something, then how are you going to learn? And so I always believe, words don't teach, only experience teaches. Words can guide, but experience actually teaches. So you've got to actually go and do it. There's so many people, we have a gold and silver and a stock market focus as well. And you ask the gold guys, how many ounces of this stuff do you own? How many times have you been and seen real gold and silver in your hand, right? It's none. You ask, who's your broker? And they go, I don't have a brokerage account. But you just had all these fancy theories about what's happening in the stock market and what's happening with gold and silver. You are just mentally masturbating your life at this point.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And, I get people asking me how they can get started in real estate investing. And 1, 2, 3 years down the road, I talk to them again and they haven't done anything. They're just stuck in that analysis paralysis.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't even know what it is. I don't know whether it's analysis paralysis. I don't know whether it's just the bare bones fear. I don't know whether they've been sold onto the idea of becoming a real estate investor and it's not really what they want to do. I don't know. At the end of the day, I work with people that are normal people. Their desires are to create some freedom. They want to create some security for their family. They want a bright future for their children. They want to live and retire in style, and they want to leave a legacy for their future generations. I don't think that's too much to ask. These are normal people. They want to make that work. That's who I work with. Like, I don't enjoy talking to people that don't take any, and I mean any action. Forget like massive action. I'm sorry to Tony Robbins, but forget massive action. Most of these people aren't even taking any action. Yeah. At least set up a broker account, right? At least go put an offer in on a property. At least go touch some gold and silver. At least do something, rather than just listen to someone on the internet. And that becomes useful once you're doing stuff. But until you're doing things, go watch Netflix instead. It'd be more valuable because at least it will entertain you right now.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is when people watch, let's say they're listening to this podcast right now, they think in their head that they're doing something productive by
Yeah.
by doing so. But it's the total opposite. Like the productive activities are taking that action that will lead you towards doing a deal.
Yeah.
This is just education. That's
Yeah.
part of the component, right?
Yeah, in fact, right now, while you're doing this, while you're watching this and not doing anything, you're actually psychologically harming yourself because your brain's going, I told you you weren't going to do anything. I knew you weren't going to do anything. Remember when your dad said you weren't going to do anything? Remember when your teacher said you weren't going to do anything? You just proved them right. You're never going to do anything, right? So all this negative self-talk is getting stronger and stronger. Whereas if you just went and did something. I remember when I started focusing on my health, right? And I wanted to go to the gym and start to lift weights and this, that, and the other. I learned so much about how to lift weights without actually lifting a weight. And I remember my first personal trainer said, pick that fucking weight up and lift it. Now you're going to start learning about lifting weights. I don't care what you've read or what you've done. Pick the damn weight up. And that's what it is with anything. It's just pick the damn weight up.
Yeah. So I'll tell if somebody, right now, hit the pause button, go make a couple phone calls to brokers, go put an offer, then come back and listen to the rest of the interview.
Yeah, go do something, do something productive.
Yeah, for sure. And so like what is, you are obviously a very motivated, driven individual. What would you say is the main factor that's fueling that drive for you?
That's one of the things. I just want to put this thought out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm motivated and driven. Am I really motivated and driven? All I'm trying to do is create more freedom in my life. All I'm trying to do is create more security in my life. I feel like there's millions of people out there that want that. The difference is that with me, I understood very early on that there was a way to do this, right? And that way wasn't common knowledge, okay? And so if it was common knowledge, it would be taught in schools. Let's just put it like that, right? So most people are either not doing anything or you're trying to use common knowledge to get uncommon results, right? And at the end of the day, you have to have the right information and you've got to understand what the best way of doing it is for you. I don't think I'm that motivated. I don't think I'm like extraordinarily, inspired or motivated. I don't think I have, Jesus speaking through me to go get my investments rolling. Like, it's just life. You need money. You're going to need to be rich and you're going to need assets to have the life that you want. If you don't want that, then you don't need any of these things. You don't need to be motivated for it. And I don't think anyone should be motivated. I think you should be, any motivation that you have to make money should be coming from, holy shit, I don't have any money, right? That's the motivation that you should be getting. Not, I want to create this amazing life and help so many people, and all that stuff will come. Get the money first. Like, figure out how to make the money, keep the money, grow the money, So that's just my thinking on it. I don't think I'm tremendously motivated. I don't think I'm tremendously inspired. I just want to make money because I know what money can do for my friends and my family. And at the end of it, I don't have enough. I don't have enough. Once I have enough, then maybe I'll say, okay, maybe I can make a little bit less money, right? Maybe I'll give 10% back to the market. But at this point, I don't have enough money, and most people watching this don't have enough money, because if we did have enough money, we wouldn't be, running businesses, we wouldn't be investing unless it was our true passion, right? So as far as I go, that having enough doesn't stop. I know a guy that's comfortably a billionaire, and he still works because it's fun and it's enjoyment, and he doesn't have enough, because at $1 billion, your dreams grow to $2 billion. And at $2 billion, your dreams grow to $3 billion. So whatever it is, at the end of the day, don't look at someone like me or someone on a YouTube program or on the internet that's going, you need to make more money, you need to make more money, you need to make more money, and go, oh man, they have a lot of money, so they can say that. It's not about that. We're actually the same person, just at different stages, right? So if you've got nothing and you want to make money, we're the same person. We have the same energy. We still want to make more money, right? Yeah. That's the way you got to look at it. That's the way you got to look at it, I believe.
Oh, no, I think you're bang on. And the one thing that I think a lot of the viewers and listeners pick up on is, I could be interviewing somebody with $1 billion net worth, 500 million, 20 million, $1 million net worth. We're all the same people, like you said. Like, you're not drastically smarter than most of the population. It's just you think differently about assets and the ways you can make your money grow.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's that for underlying philosophy, and it's understanding why you need money, why you need investments, what the best vehicles are to do that with. And like I said, not trying to use common knowledge to create uncommon results. If you want uncommon results, you need to use uncommon knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And at the end of the day, a lot of people think I can't do this because of XYZ reason. That's absolute bullshit. You can do this. Anyone can do this. And you just got to get off your ass and do it. And that might sound unfair to people like, oh my God, I spent so much time learning about this. That's nothing. I don't care. All the time you spent learning about it got you here. Now what?
Yeah. Yeah. And it all comes down to action. I've really enjoyed this portion of the interview because I think we've had some really good messages for people to actually go out and do something.
Yeah, at the end of the day, my company, we work with 155 clients a year. That's the number that I learned would allow me to still focus as intensely as I wanted on my own investments and building my own portfolio. So we work with 155 people per year. So, if someone finds what I'm saying as distasteful, it's not a problem. There's 155 action takers a year that don't mind me telling them that they actually have to take some action. But if you find what I've said distasteful, you would hate the mentors that mentored me.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. And actually, well, let's talk about mentors because, we discussed a bit about having that paradigm shift and opening your eyes to the unconventional ways of growing wealth. How important were mentors in your success and how did you seek them out?
Oh, hugely important. Man, when I did my first deal, I walked away with a 68,000 pounds, like 85 grand, um, in cash back, 300,000 in equity, right? At 18, it's like, what am I going to do with this money? And if I didn't have the right mentors around me, then, who knows what would have happened and who knows what would have happened in the crash and things like that. So, I think mentors are very, very important, and educators are very, very important. How do you find them? You start doing, and they show up. And I know that sounds so weird, but you start doing, you start meeting people, you start and I don't mean meeting people like go to networking meetings and say, hey, I'm a real estate investor when you haven't done anything. Like, go do it. Go actually do it, and you'll find the people. The people will show up. And that's the best way I found them. And then, buy mentors. Mentors are available to buy, in my company, if you're one of the 155 people a year that we work with, you can buy our time. You can buy our coach's time. You can buy these things. Our coach, he was investing with our strategies for 5 years, 4.5 years before he became a coach. And he invests his and his family's money through our strategies. That's someone that's actually doing it, right? So you can buy coaches and you can find them, but the key thing to do is just start doing something, and all those things will appear.
Yeah, well, 100%. So let's hop into a keystone deal. So a deal that made a big impact on you and your business. Is there one that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, the first one that I did was great. And I know you said, sometimes people talk about bad deals, people talk about good deals. For me, I try and forget the bad ones as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I take the lesson, learn the lesson, and keep it moving. So the best one for me was that first deal that I actually did, right? So I was negotiating deals and packaging them up anyway for real estate investors. And that was the first one. I was like, you know what? Instead of just getting a commission, let me get involved in this deal and buy 3 apartments myself. And to walk away with 68 grand in cash back and, to 85,000 US dollars and 300,000 US dollars in equity at 18 years old. It's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
It's like you feel rich at that point.
Yeah. No, and I like the fact that you said like you not only got you had the cash back, but you also had that equity in the property. Because when I first started out, I started off selling the real estate, so I'd be earning a commission, but I realized that the commission comes in, the commission goes out. I had no equity in anything, and that's the true that's the key in building wealth. You have to start building your equity position in your portfolio.
Equity in everything. You've got to have equity in everything. So whether it's a business, whatever it is, you've got to have some equity in everything.
Yeah, 100%. So, you go from that first deal where, I'd call that a pretty successful transaction. How quickly did you do your second and third deal? Because most people say your first one is the hardest one.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't generally the hardest one. It was just the one that made the most sense. And at the time, right? Because I was doing it for like 2 years anyway. I was negotiating deals, packaging them up. And so I think the second one happened. I mean, you got to bear in mind in this deal, I put down £1,500, right? 1,500 I put down, and I walked away with $85,000 of cash back and 300,000 of equity. So you can imagine it wasn't too long before the next one started happening.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. And I'm sure, if somebody had that type of deal, you could find 1,500 pounds. No problem.
You could definitely find that 1,500, no
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, for sure. So, how has getting involved in real estate and I guess would say income generating assets as a whole changed your life so far?
Well, number one, it gives you a grounding factor. And that is, there's two types of income, right? There is your income that you earn, and then there is the passive income and that passive wealth that just grows, right? And if you just have the income that you earn, that money sits there doing nothing. So which means you've got to spend it. You've got to get rid of it somehow, right? And because cash sitting there is losing value every single year. So you have to get rid of that cash somehow, some way, right? And so if you don't understand income generating assets, and you don't understand assets as a whole, and you don't understand real estate, what you're going to do is go put that into shit, whether that shit is, shoes or whatever that is, right? Even holidays, right? And people say, oh, but travel is an experience, all this other shit. And wait until you have money, right? You'll be able to
Yeah.
travel a lot more when you're 40 with a few million in the bank, right? You can enjoy travel a lot more when you've got that amount of money. Trust me, right? You won't be going backpacking. You'll be at a proper hotel that has, running water or whatever, right? And so, you know, learning how to invest and learning about assets helps you take that earned income and not piss it away, right? Exactly what I'm going to do with this money. You take that money and you put it into an investment, and it keeps you stable, it keeps you grounded, and it allows you to create a discipline around wealth building.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I think those are some really good messages. So, Minesh, if somebody's looking to reach out, get in touch, learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
Well, the company's called Perfect Portfolio. I'm sure you'll have some links anyway for people to attend. One of the things I like to tell people about what we do is don't come to us with the mindset that, oh, this must be great because I read about it or heard it on YouTube. Come to us with an eye for scrutiny, right? Come to us and scrutinize the hell out of everything that we do. Ask as many questions as you want. Speak to my team. Ask every single thing that you want until you fully understand it, and then become a client if it's right for you. But you've got to scrutinize. You can't go into something with the idea that, oh, this must be great because I heard about it somewhere, even if it's a friend online, whatever it is, you can't do that, right? The bottom line is you just got to do something, right? Whether it's with me, whether it's with Perfect Portfolio or whatever, that doesn't matter. You just got to do something, because until you do something, that little club that's over there making money will always stay that little club that's over there making money. The moment you start doing something, you won't need the club. And the moment you don't need the club will open up to you, right? It's as simple as that. So get the right information, get what you figure out what you want to do, and then go do it. And it's not, if you had failures in the past and things like that, they're typically not your fault. And the reason why I'm very comfortable saying that, even though people go, oh, but I made this mistake, I made that mistake, is that you're using common knowledge to try and create uncommon results. So typically these things are not your fault. If someone had told you shouldn't have over leveraged in 2008, you wouldn't have done it, right? So in those scenarios, you cannot be drowned by past mistakes, past failures, especially when you just didn't have the information. So find the right information and then get on with it. The truth is, I think creating some freedom, creating a security for your family, creating a bright future for your children, having the desire to retire in style and live in style, and to leave a legacy for your future generations. I don't think these are unrealistic and over the top demands for people. Like, I think, these are normal things that everyone should want, right? And everyone can have, as long as you get the right information, as long as you don't let the times where you didn't even have the right information to make the right decision affect you going forward. You can do this. Anyone can do this, and we see it all the time with what we do. We have people that are Wall Street traders and then single moms in Indonesia, and they all generate the same results. You just got to have the right information.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I know with myself, I look back 10 years ago, if I would have had the network and the knowledge I have now, I would have done things way differently. But you can't go back in time. You just have to keep going forward.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. Just get off your ass and do something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Minesh, really enjoyed this. We had some really good stuff for the viewers and listeners. So I just want to say thanks again for taking the time and sharing that with us.
My absolute pleasure. Anything I can do to help you, just let me know. And I love your energy, man.
No, that's great. Thanks. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well on your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.